Hey friends, welcome back to the channel where history meets mystery and legends never die. If you're a fan of The Curse of Oak Island, buckle up, because Season 12, Episode 22, just dropped a jaw-dropping revelation. We're not just talking about ancient tunnels and buried artifacts. We're talking about undeniable connections that might finally crack the mystery wide open. Let me take you back, way back. The year is 1565. The Knights of Malta, a brotherhood of warrior monks, are digging deep into the limestone of Malta to build a fortress beneath the city. Why? To protect their people and, most importantly, their secrets fast forward to today. And what Rick Lagina and the team just uncovered in those very tunnels might hold the key to what has been hidden on Oak Island for centuries. Sound far-fetched? Friend, stay with me. It gets wilder. As Rick explored the underground tunnel system beneath the streets of Valletta, he noticed something oddly familiar. The limestone bore chisel, marks identical to those found deep in the Oak Island money pit, and get this, they found a bluish-gray clay, a natural sealant lining the tunnel walls. Sound familiar because back on Oak Island, deep in the money pit, the team found the same blue clay used to waterproof hidden chambers. Coincidence? Or was the same secret knowledge, maybe even the same hands responsible for engineering? Both? This is more than a similarity, folks. This is a signature. The Knights of Malta were known for their incredible subterranean construction techniques, vaults, aqueducts, and storage chambers that could withstand sieges. They weren't just military masterminds. They were architects of secrecy. The idea that these methods found their way to a remote island in Nova Scotia may have sounded outlandish once. But now, with clay limestone tunnels and identical construction styles linking Malta to Oak Island, the narrative is turning from legend to likelihood. And it doesn't stop there back on Oak Island on Lot 5. The team has been laser-focused on a mysterious stone foundation, a round structure unlike anything else on the island. It's yielded an array of incredible artifacts, but one in particular is rewriting the investigation. The starburst button. That's right. The same ornate starburst design found just feet from the site of intense excavation. You might think it's just a button. But when that button was analyzed by military historian Dennis Darmanin, something shocking came to light. He recognized the design. Not only did it date back to the mid-1600s, well before the money pit was ever discovered, but it bore a style tied directly to uniforms worn by Spanish members of, you guessed it, the Knights of Malta. Let me just pause here and say, this isn't wild speculation anymore. This is history, leaving fingerprints that button alone, ornate noble, and strategically placed might be the smoking gun that ties the order of the Knights of Malta directly to Oak Island. Could it be that they arrived under the guise of exploration, but left behind something far more valuable than just stories? Now, friends, you know, we found other buttons on Oak Island, some connected to the French military, others more ambiguous. But this one is different. It's pristine, it's ancient, and it was discovered right next to a mortar, like material matching soil from 100 feet below the money pit. We're talking evidence stacked on evidence here. And we're not just relying on a single find during excavation on Lot 5. The team uncovered shards of pottery dating from the 1700s, all nearly intact, plates, cups, buttons, remnants of people who clearly camped, dined, and worked here over centuries. And one thing is becoming increasingly clear. This wasn't just a homestead. This was a site of operation, maybe even a staging ground for those who knew what was hidden on the island and how to protect it, as Jack Begley and the archaeology team sift through layers of centuries-old soil. The discoveries are coming faster than ever. Creamware, slipware, decorative earthware. The kind of fine goods that belong to aristocrats or military elite. That's not your average settler inventory. That's something planned, purposeful. Now ask yourself if the Knights of Malta, or their allies, did indeed reach Nova Scotia in the 1600s. Which historical records suggest they did? What were they doing just 15 miles from Oak Island at Fort Point? That's where Isaac de Sade, Razilli, a Knight of Malta, and French sea captain, established a base of operations. Maybe it wasn't just colonization. Maybe it was concealment. Back on the Maltese island of Gozo Rick, and the team didn't just find history. They found confirmation. They met with Dennis Darmanin again, this time, to compare that mysterious button with uniforms worn by Maltese knights of the 17th century. And guess what? The design matches almost exactly. The size, the swirl pattern, even the materials line, up with what would have adorned the coats of high-ranking knights. Here's the kicker. These buttons were more than decoration. They were status symbols, personalized, meaningful, and meticulously crafted to represent rank and origin. So if one of those buttons ends up buried in a stone feature on Oak Island, you better believe it wasn't an accident. This leads us to an even bigger theory, one we've danced around for years, but are now beginning to stare in the face. What if the Knights of Malta, knowing the political volatility of Europe and the growing threat of conquest, made a bold decision to transfer and bury their greatest treasures far from reach? And what if Oak Island, remote and obscured by legend, was their final vault? We now have blue clay, matching waterproofing methods used in Malta. We have tunnel systems built in similar styles. We have buttons with 17th century insignia found within mere feet of the money pit. If these aren't connections, what are they? And as the sun rises once more over Oak Island, we find ourselves in the middle of something much larger than just a treasure hunt. This is about rewriting history. Each new clue doesn't just shine a light on who might have been here. It challenges everything we thought we knew about the timeline of North American colonization. Did secretive European factions arrive here long before the traditional historical records suggest the evidence on Lot 5 increasingly says yes? What's truly mind-blowing is that the button and pottery finds aren't just isolated data points. When you lay them alongside the architectural parallels in Malta, the waterproofing with blue clay, the limestone tunnel systems, and the chisel techniques, it's as if a blueprint is emerging, a design replicated across oceans, and suddenly, the why behind Oak Island's complex flood traps and hidden shafts starts making a lot more sense. This wasn't a pirate's stash. It was a sophisticated effort, strategic, protected and hidden for generations. And here's another detail you can't ignore when Ethan Green uncovered that ornate floral button near the shoreline. It wasn't just another relic, it was a confirmation, a pattern, a reinforcement of a theory that's gaining more traction with every episode. There was an organized presence on Oak Island, one connected to European nobility or military orders who may have been using the island for reasons far beyond storage or shelter with each new Dig Rick Marty. And the team aren't just moving Earth. They're peeling back centuries, and what they're uncovering is a hidden narrative buried deep below the surface, one that challenges mainstream historical understanding. We're seeing a timeline with new layers, and those layers are telling us that Oak Island was occupied and utilized far earlier and far more intricately than previously believed. Let's not forget, this isn't just about finding gold. This is about uncovering who engineered one of the most complex booby-trapped vault systems in recorded history. You don't build something like that to hide cannonballs or china plates. You do it to protect something monumental, maybe sacred, maybe political. Whatever it is, it was worth generations of effort to keep it hidden, and as the Laginas continue to dig, they're getting closer to it, both physically and metaphorically. And here's where you, my fellow truth seeker, come in. This isn't just entertainment. This is a live unraveling of a historical enigma. Every week, the team inches closer, and so do we. We're part of this story. We're witnesses to one of the most persistent archaeological pursuits in modern times. And as more connections to the Knights of Malta surface, we may be on the verge of solving a 500-year-old mystery that spans continents. So let's keep the conversation going. What do you think the Knights of Malta were doing on Oak Island? Could they have orchestrated this grand underground labyrinth to secure something far more valuable than gold? Leave your theories in the comments. Let's decode this together. And if you're as fired up as I am, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. Because if history has anything left to reveal, it's going to happen right here.